The year 2020 is a year like we have never encountered before. I mean, seriously. Apart from the fact that numerically it is a new year to us, at the time this video was made, was there ever a year where it was mandatory for you to stay home for a quarter of a year? Or where it is legal to wear a mask even at a jewelry store? Or where there is a possibility of having 3 different prime ministers in a year to rule the land? Or where toilet papers are regarded as essential items over anything else? Convinced? The year 2020 is also a year where this country has enacted or enforced more laws and rules than any other years, and here are a few of them, in case you didn't know. To encourage us to make more videos like this, please like, share and subscribe. We will really appreciate it. Thank you. On 1st January 2020, the Health Minister began their full enforcement of the smoking ban, which was gazetted in January 2019, where those found smoking in prohibited area, including all eateries, would be charged a compound of 250 ringgit and the increase in the compounded amount for subsequent offences. Smokers must be at least 3 meters, not 3 feet, away from eateries establishment before they could light up. Like smoking ban, the ban on plastic straws were also implemented in January 2020 on traders and operators of food outlets. The ban is included as conditions for business licenses, where one must make sure that food operators don't use plastic straws in order to obtain the business licenses. In January 2020, the government of Malaysia passed a new ruling that makes it compulsory for all children below 135 cm tall to use a car seat whilst being transported in a private vehicle, which is now fully enforced since July 2020. Anyone found guilty will be liable to a fine of 2,000 ringgit or imprisonment of up to 2 years. So, it is recommended that you buckle up before getting locked up. Section 17A of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Act 2009 is now enforced since June 2020, where commercial organisation can be considered guilty if any of its employees and/or associates commits corruption for the benefit of the organisation, regardless of whether the upper management or its representatives has knowledge of the corruption. The penalty under Section 17A is a fine not less than 10 times of the value of the bribe or 1 million ringgit, whichever is higher, or imprisonment of 20 years, or both. The commercial organisation needs to ensure that adequate procedure is implemented to ensure the business is conducted with integrity and steps are implemented to prevent corruption even if it does happen. If you have subscribed to paid digital services from foreign services provider such as Spotify, Dropbox, or even Netflix, you will be slapped with a digital service tax of 6% starting from January 2020. The year 2020 has seen an increase in minimum wage to 1,200 ringgit in certain state and city in the country. For city and municipality council that are not listed here, the minimum wage is 1,100 ringgit. New activities and protocols are implemented to prevent the spread of COVID-19. This includes the need to set up health screening counter and registration counter at the entrance of every establishment and the control of crowd and the movement of crowd in public places. Those found in breach of the SOP, which includes social distancing and adhering to curfew, can be arrested. In August 2020, the government of Malaysia has also made it mandatory for everyone to wear a mask in public places, failing which a fine of up to 1,000 ringgit can be compounded. The use of mobile phones whilst on the road is punishable with a fine of up to 2,000 ringgit or imprisonment of 3 to 6 months or both. However, since July 2020, offenders cannot now pay a simple fine but are required to appear before the court to settle the issue. Apart from what is stated earlier, there are also a few new laws that are in the pipeline which we might see it enacted this year. This includes the COVID-19 bill, which we have done a video on it. In case you've missed that, we'll share a link in the description below. The other one to look out for is the Road Transport Act Amendment Bill 2020, where Section 41 of the Road Transport Act 1987 will be amended to attract an imprisonment of 5 to 10 years with a fine of 20,000 ringgit to 50,000 ringgit for causing death by reckless or dangerous driving. Also, offenders whose blood alcohol concentration exceeds the permitted level will immediately face jail time and a fine. The year 2020 has indeed been interesting. Not only are we required to make changes in our lives to cope with the new normal, one must also be vigilant in keeping abreast on the laws of the land to prevent oneself from getting on the wrong side of the law.